Hello beautiful people, I'm Yamata and this is my first ever conversational YouTube video for this channel. I've got a couple of other videos uploaded for my new single Past Lives which you can check out if you want, and I'll link those in the video description. But this video will not just be about me promoting my single, it will indeed be about TikTok's shadow banning, and in particular the story of me getting shadow banned from TikTok. But before I get into that, I'd like to indulge in a short intro just because this is the inaugural conversational video for this channel and I wanted to do something special to commemorate that occasion. I don't think I'll do this for future videos, but we'll see. Anyway, here it is. I'm an independent artist looking to make it in a competitive music industry, and this is my YouTube content. Okay, so this story about shadow banning and me getting shadow banned from TikTok will make some more sense with some background about me as a musician. You can skip ahead to the shadow banning part if you want, but here's a bit of context. I've been making my own original music for about 5 years now, and I've released a few albums under different artist names. I won't go into too much detail about those just because they're not super relevant for the video, but you can check those out if you want. I was also in a few different bands before this playing the drums. I also worked as a software developer while I was making my original music. As you might know, it's pretty hard to make an income just being a musician. However, I don't have much experience on the music promotion side of things, in particular social media, which as you may know is very important if you want to get your music heard these days. I'm planning to release an album under the name Yamata called Godhead Primacy, and this is my first time using a few different social media platforms, in particular TikTok and Instagram. I don't really like TikTok to be honest, but from all the research I've done online about music marketing, it's pretty effective these days for trying to get your music heard, so I thought I might as well give it a try. I made 30 short film videos which I was planning to post to TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels. 15 of them were related to the single and 15 were not. The reason I wanted to do the non-single related stuff is because I was thinking that maybe some stuff which was not just about me and my music would be a better way of hooking people in, and then people could come and discover my music. At the time of shooting this video, I've posted 14 short form videos to TikTok, 8 which are related to the single and 6 which are not. I'll show a few of those videos here just because I know not everybody uses TikTok, and this will give you an idea of the kind of content that I was making. Actually, can we start again? So how did these videos do? Well, not so well to be honest. I definitely didn't go viral with any of them, and I had a few likes trickling in, but it was nothing too amazing. However, my theory about non-single content doing well did actually prove to be correct. I got a little bit more engagement with the non-single related stuff than with the single related stuff, and I was excited to try out a few more non-single related stuff just to see how that would do. However, 1 week into posting videos, something unexpected happened. So one morning I got up and posted a TikTok as usual, something I've been trying to do daily for about 2 weeks, but I noticed something odd was happening. I noticed that it was getting 0 views, which is not what had happened for my other videos. The views increased slightly, and at the time of shooting this, the video is currently at 8 views, but I determined that these were coming from my followers, and there were only 7 of them at the time. The account was pretty new. Here's the video. So does TikTok just ban reincarnation content? I can't see anything in the For You feed eligibility standards that says anything about reincarnation, so I determined that this probably was not what was going on. I was pretty annoyed at first, but then I calmed down and realized I had been shadow banned, and I came up with 3 reasons why this could be the case. Number 1, maybe my content fell into the misinformation section of the eligibility standards. This seems plausible, but maybe not super likely. I don't know how TikTok would detect the information in here and determine that it was misinformation. So that one didn't really seem to make sense. 2, someone had reported me. This is possible, but again, I don't see why anyone would report me for this. It's not really offensive content as far as I can tell, but you never know, maybe someone just got annoyed and decided they didn't like the content for whatever reason. Number 3, unoriginal content. This is the one I think is most likely, and the reason for that is because I posted another video earlier which used the same single artwork. So what could have happened is TikTok could have picked up that old video and thought that I was posting the same video again. Anyway, it seems logical to think that TikTok would maybe flag the video that I posted and allow me to keep posting to people's For You feed, right? Or maybe they'd stop me from posting and tell me what I've done wrong? Nope, it seems that TikTok doesn't take either of these approaches. Instead, they will just stop pushing your future videos to the For You feed for a certain amount of time, which from what I've seen online seems to be about 2 weeks, but TikTok doesn't have any information about this on their website. The confusing thing about this approach is that TikTok does have another mechanism for flagging your content and telling you that you've violated their policies explicitly. They'll notify you and flag the offending content, which seems like a much fairer way to do things, but they don't take this approach every time. Sometimes you get shadowbanned, which is to say your content just gets removed from the For You feed and you won't get notified of the reason for why you got banned. You'll just have to reverse engineer it yourself. So my videos after that one didn't do so well. But then something unexpected happened. I posted this video and it started popping off. I got 19,000 views and netted 18 followers from the video, which was more than double my previous amount. Not amazing, but pretty good for my account, which was just starting out. Had I been unshadowbanned? No, I had paid for promotion. Very sneaky, TikTok. You shadowban me, then allow me to pay for promotion during the period that I'm shadowbanned? I just noticed there was a little prompt at the bottom of the video that said pay for promotion, and I wanted to see how it would work. So I clicked it and watched the numbers shoot up. Even though the video is currently my most viewed and most liked one, the view to like ratio is pretty bad, and I theorize that this may be partially due to the fact that there's the paid promotion tag at the top of promoted videos. I believe this video would have done better with the same number of views if it didn't have the paid promotion tag, but I have no way of proving this. Also, maybe the content wasn't that great, but hey, at least it was getting pushed out to people. Anyway, that's basically the story of me getting shadowbanned. I'm hoping they'll get unshadowbanned later this week, as that'll be the 2-week period. Fingers crossed. I just want to address a couple of points that people might raise about this story. 1. Why didn't I delete the offending content? Keep in mind, I have no way of knowing which content violated which policy, and which policy was even violated because I didn't receive this information from TikTok. I did reach out to TikTok via the contact form, but they didn't reply. Maybe they're too busy responding to other shadowban queries. 2. Why didn't I just delete my account and start again? There wasn't much point doing this in my opinion, since I could be flagged as a spammer for posting the same content again. I could just not post any of my old content, but I had already posted 14 videos at this point, which was just under half of my planned content. So I didn't really see the point in starting over versus eating a 2-week shadow ban. If this keeps happening on this account, then maybe I'll consider starting over. Anyway, that's the story of me getting shadow banned. And that brings us to the final section of this video, which will basically just be me ranting about TikTok and social media in general. If anyone wants to leave their story about getting shadow banned in the comments, that'd be really cool. It'd be great to get some engagement on this channel, and I know that YouTube and TikTok are competitors, so I'm hoping that this will be a safe space to vent. Here's some venting. First off, I want to touch on the potential TikTok ban in the US. I'm sure you've heard stuff about this as well. I'm not going to comment too much because I haven't really done much research on it, but I'm assuming it has absolutely nothing to do with TikTok shadow banning and more to do with the fact that TikTok might be Chinese spyware. Maybe this is a bit of a hot take, but I'm actually more annoyed about the shadow banning than the Chinese spyware stuff. You can call me naive if you want, but I don't really care if the Chinese government knows when I poop. I'm sure they've got bigger fish to fry. But anyway, this whole ordeal has been pretty frustrating, and it's definitely highlighted some things about social media that I wasn't aware of beforehand. I thought it'd be good to go over some things that popped into my head, as they might be useful for people who are considering getting into content creation for whatever reason. Maybe you want to promote your music, or maybe you just want to do content creation in another area. By the way, I'm aware of the fact that many musicians don't want to be content creators, and they might consider something like TikTok or YouTube content creation beneath them. I understand this perspective, and I do think that making good music is a different skill to making good social media content. But as it's so difficult to be heard as a musician these days due to the noise, I think you need to consider every channel available to you and whether it can serve your music in some way. Maybe it's not an ideal situation, but I don't think artists should expect people to listen to their music for no reason. Content creation can be a complementary skill to music creation, and that's why I'm trying it here myself on platforms like TikTok and YouTube. I understand that it can be time consuming and it can feel like you didn't sign up for it. But no one's stopping you from just making music and uploading it for your friends and family to listen to, if that's what you want to do. This is basically the approach I took with my previous albums, and I'll admit that it's not perfect and it comes with its own set of challenges, but I still think it can be artistically fulfilling. I think it's useful to point out a key difference between TikTok and a platform such as YouTube to understand why TikTok is potentially so important for musicians and new content creators. TikTok gives you what is essentially free engagement in the form of the For You feed, whereas YouTube requires that you click on a video that's served to you by the algorithm. This seemingly subtle difference is actually massive when you consider how most people discover new music. If they just randomly hear a song that they like, they might check out the artist, which could happen if they're scrolling the For You feed. I believe that it's far less likely for most people to click on new music if they're just looking at the thumbnail of a YouTube video, because they know nothing about that artist and whether it's worth listening to their music or not. This is definitely my own experience when listening to music on YouTube, which is actually where I discover most of the new music I listen to. Although I will sometimes check a new artist out if I find the name of the song or the band compelling. But I also use social proof here to determine whether the video is worth my click or not. Does the video have a lot of views, for example? Is it a KEXP performance or something else that I'm familiar with? Maybe you're in a similar boat. If you think about it, a click is actually a big commitment. Consider how many videos you ignore on a daily basis which are served to you by the YouTube algorithm, and these are videos that are meant to be curated to your tastes. In fact, TikTok can actually guarantee that your video is seen a number of times, and this is what I found with the promotion campaign that I purchased. I know this stuff is probably obvious to social media marketing experts, but it definitely wasn't obvious to me until I started getting into it. I'm definitely not claiming to be an expert or anything, but I've learned a lot just from this brief foray into marketing my own single. And I hope to learn more as I continue to promote the other singles on this album, as well as the album itself. It's worth pointing out that Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts don't seem to suffer the same shadow banning issue as far as I can tell. I didn't experience the same issue of getting no views when I posted the duplicate artwork video to these platforms. Unfortunately, these platforms tend to get a little bit less engagement than TikTok when it comes to the short form videos, or at least that's been my experience so far. And this makes sense to me considering how the For You feed works on TikTok compared with the other platforms. Basically, with just one swipe, you're fully focused on the next video on TikTok, whereas Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts require a click. However, I have seen people complaining about the algorithm hiding their content on YouTube and Instagram as well, so it's possible that shadow banning is also an issue on these platforms, but this seems unlikely to me. These people probably just aren't getting as much engagement on their content due to it having a lower engagement, or the platforms are also changing how their algorithm works, which is still a separate issue from the shadow banning. Maybe I'm wrong about this, and I am curious to know if shadow banning is also an issue on these platforms. Let me know if you have any experience with this yourself. To be fair, I've also seen people complain about TikTok shadow banning when it's just that their videos aren't getting pushed out to more people due to the way the TikTok algorithm works. I didn't think I had been shadow banned when my videos were only getting 300 views, because I knew that this was the minimum amount that TikTok uses to get data on whether your content should be pushed out to more people or not. This algorithmic issue is again a separate one from the shadow banning issue, because TikTok is still guaranteeing you a certain level of engagement and checking if the content is engaging enough to push out to more people. I think this mechanism is fair enough even if it's not perfect. There's only so much platforms like TikTok and YouTube can do to make sure that your content gets organic reach. It would be nice if they were more transparent about what is exactly involved though. I know YouTube prioritizes watch time, and maybe it's the same with TikTok, I'm not sure, but we're going down a bit of a rabbit hole here, and this is perhaps a story for another video. One fundamental problem with the algorithmic approach is that just because content is engaging doesn't necessarily mean it's good, but this is a problem that all platforms have to face. I'm sure they have all sorts of clever ways to deal with it, but I wouldn't say they've found a perfect solution because often the content that we see going viral tends to be pretty low quality.
You guys, I'm so scared. Something is happening to the world. It's changing. Just look at this.
Again, this is a very difficult problem to solve, so I do empathize with the social media platforms to some extent here. But this does not excuse TikTok's shadow banning. The moral of the story is TikTok's shadow banning tactics really suck for new content creators when considering how important TikTok is for guaranteeing a certain level of initial organic reach. I think that's where I'll end this video. I hope you found it interesting, and again, if you have any stories about being shadow banned or any general social media stuff, it'd be great to hear about it in the comments. What's it been like using social media to market your own music? Has it been hellish, or have you found ways around some of the major pain points? If people find this kind of content useful, I'd love to do more videos like it, but I really need your feedback to do it because otherwise I'm shouting into the void, which isn't really fun for me or the void. So please consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. I know I would have found this story pretty useful and interesting even way back when I started making music myself, so I hope I can be of service to emerging artists out there. And even if you're not making music yourself, hopefully you still found this video interesting. Bye.